Wow, welcome to Abracadabra, create what you speak. It's really creating,
It
I mean,
is.
every day, especially today, the way that we are
I'll
setting
go to
up our
mine.
studio.
Here we go again. So sorry for this little interruption. Got to share this.
There you go. All
All
right,
right.
we are. Good. Now we can go to Ije. There you go.
There you go. And then, all right. Checking connection.
We're live.
We're
All
live.
right. Cool.
We're live. Hello. Good. So
So
we'll wait some followers to come on.
this is here and this is here.
So
This
we
is
might be going back and forth,
Facebook, yeah, back and forth, back and
Perfect.
forth. Welcome to Abracadabra, create what you speak. I'm iLan Azoulai, spiritual mentor and a sound therapist. For you who are ready to reclaim your power, and with me is a wonderful Gina Ann. She's an intuitive spiritual counselor and a children's books author. And we are here today. You know, we were telling you about going on the road, right? On the road with our studio. And today we are
Here live at the
Wilderness Park. Where is it? In Redondo.
This is in Redondo
Redondo.
Beach.
So we're in Redondo in the Wilderness Park, and we kind of had quite a challenge to set it up, but we got it a minute before, and we're up and running.
Right.
And so we have a great program today for you. You might hear noises, but these are all an integral part of our nature, of the wilderness. I mean, we are at this
There's
place.
butterflies and turtles and
Oh, we saw just turtles, right?
Yeah,
four
my
turtles.
daughter,
right?
we actually brought 2 turtles here, eggs and bacon.
You gave them eggs and bacon?
No, that's what my daughter called her little turtles, eggs and bacon. And so it's really beautiful here. There's an amphitheater and nature and
Oh wow, yeah, this is great.
butterflies and birds. So you're going to hear all sorts of noises from the 4-legged and the 2-legged creatures,
And
probably.
the three-legged too.
And the 3, like, oh.
I don't know. I don't know, but you know, today is we are at the midst and quite of towards the tail end, end tail or tail end,
Whatever perspective you like.
wherever the tail comes from. But we're at seriously energetic and times where things are shifting, and I don't know about you, but if you've had headaches, if you've had pressure in different parts of your body, there's a lot of shift, a lot of things that are going on, and and all this is really to encourage us that shift is coming, shift is happening, and how are we?
I thought you said shit is coming and shifts are happening. That's very right.
It is coming. And how are we navigating through this? How are we taking what is, and what do we make of it? Because like I said the other time, truth has no emotions. You know, truth is truth. You know the sentence, it is what it is. I never really cared for that sentence initially, but when you get to understand it, it's quite profound, because truth has no emotions, and we are creating anything that has to do around anything that is happening. So if something is happening, if shift is happening, or
shit's happening,
then how
you take the F out.
Take the F out. That's a good one.
You can use it.
Okay, thank you.
You all can use it.
Exactly.
Hi, Danya. Welcome.
Hello,
We're
everybody.
at the Wilderness Park
Welcome.
in Redondo Beach.
So we are in Wilderness Park for you who are joining, and
hi, Ford. Oh,
I don't know any of this, but
yeah,
hello, everybody. So these are not
like my little baby
sunglasses. These are also
so as you
viewing
recognize,
glasses.
yeah.
But
it's okay. We have a
dark.
great show.
Yeah, it's really great. And so today, and in addition to everything, you know, it's not coincidental that.
Thank you. That's sweet.
It's not coincidental. Hello, Donia and Ford and Donia. Oh, there, she's twice there. Okay. It's not coincidental that everything really falls in line with Jewish heritage and holidays. And tonight we are on the eve of Hanukkah, which is Hanukkah is the festivities of light, and the story is about the essence of the story is about the few against the many, light against darkness, and light against darkness is in every aspect of our lives. Light versus darkness. The kid kind of got me a little bit distracted here.
But the inner child. So
all that we're going through is really an evaluation. Where are we standing? What are we doing with what we have? How are we moving forward? The light among darkness. What happens when we light a candle or a light or a flame in a dark room? You know, the darkness doesn't says, okay, goodbye, I'm going away, I'm going to move to the side. Darkness actually just evaporates, just goes poof, just goes away. And this is what happened in the story of Hanukkah in the time of the Greek, when the Jewish people were persecuted, and the temple was ruined, and there was only one little canister of oil that lasted for 8 days, where usually these canisters would last for one day to light the menorah, to light the menorah, the light of the temple. And so it's really interesting that this is what's happening, and we are in the midst of it. And if we look at what goes around us, you know, how much the darkness or negativity and people with ego, when they realize that maybe something is threatening their existence, they try to assert more power. They try to make us be in constantly in a survival mode. Go take care of this, take this vaccination now, take this shot, take this, and it's constantly keeping us in a place of running around our tail, trying to catch our tail, trying to be all the time in a position of busy, of not stopping to think. And when we stop to think, and we think critically. So the darkness refers to many other emotions. This is something that you wanted to talk about, right, Gina? Grief. You know, many times we look at grief as oh, you know, I go through that, but it's and maybe sometimes it's not. You know, when we are in it, it's not as positive because we're going through pain. You know,
that could be the dark for me. This is
we just need wait. Let's
the airplane go.
Julio Iglesias pass.
So for me, this is all encompassed. As we approach the holiday season, we're met with both joy and loneliness, right? You know, because for some, isolation has become a norm because of COVID, not because of COVID. We can't go visit our families because of whatever it is. For me, grief comes in all forms. It's an umbrella for many emotions: sadness, loneliness, happiness, nostalgia. For me, as the holidays approach, you know, this is where I lost my dad.
Yeah.
We lost our dad. So it's a time of remembering him and what he stands for and what we all stand for, a family. So for me, if we don't, it's also a time for gratefulness. So within the sadness, if we don't acknowledge the gratefulness, I like this saying, it's like having a beautiful wrapped present and you don't give it to anybody. So
great. You know, it's really important what you're saying, because grief comes in many shapes and forms, and it is a beginning. Because what we're doing when we grieve, we release, we are accepting. So there are the 5 stages of grief, where we're going through grief, we're going through disbelief, and then we're going through anger, and then we're starting to process it in different ways. You know, I can talk from my personal experience when my dad passed away, and other things and other events in life, and we're going through this period where at first it appears to be, oh, how can that happen? How can that be? And it's like a disbelief, or like a separation. You know, how can it be? It's
correct, Danya. Exactly. Love that.
No, they don't cancel each other. That's right, Donia.
That's right.
And actually, they support each other very much so.
That's beautiful.
They support very much so, because when we're going through this process of grief, where we are accepting what is, and we're learning to be grateful for what we have, and all this period of time here, now this energetic time, is to recognize what we have and to be really grateful for what we have, for everything that we have, and from that standpoint, we can start seeing positivity. Because when we're in gratitude, we cannot be angry. When we are in true gratitude, we cannot be angry. We cannot be in a negative space, because we're in gratitude. And gratitude is really is like a pillar for positivity.
Yeah, right? If we acknowledge all our feelings, whether they're joy or bliss or sadness or whatever they may be, this is our time for ascension. it'll get us through the glorious glow and sparkle of where we're at. And I love sparkles. That's why I like the holidays. It is full of sparkle and glitter and fairy tales and things like that.
You put some sparkle
I know, I put sparkles on. So when I have like crazy pants.
Oh yeah, we have our crazy pants.
Our magic crazy
we both
pants
have crazy pants, you see?
We wanted it colorful because
colorful, festivities,
I love like Donna said, right? The grief and the gratitude. We can talk about grief, but we can also be in the state of gratitude. And I think within our scars lies the truth of who we really are.
Yeah.
That's how we grow. And obviously grief never shows up at a convenient time, right?
Never. we never can be ready for can be ready for that, right?
I know.
It's not.
So we're going to offer tools for this as well. When I can only speak of my own grief. And of course I deal with people who have all types of grief, financial, health, relationship. I used to, when I was in grief, put my grief aside, and it's like, oh, I got to be there for my family. I got to be there for my friends. I got to be there for my work. So I would get shoved aside. So one of the tools that I like to offer, and when I started to realize that when I didn't acknowledge my own grief and my own self-care, I couldn't help anybody else. So self-care. So this is why we chose to be in nature, because one of the greatest things you can offer yourself during a time of grief is getting into nature. Get outside, walk, really appreciate everything and all the plants, all the animals, all the butterflies, the waves, the water.
Because what happens really is freeing. It's those free. You know how I talk. I'm with sound. I'm all about sound and frequencies. And when we are in nature, everything is. We pay attention how everything is harmonious. How everything is in harmony. Everything is just perfectly placed. We are the cacophony. It's like a symphony. It's like you see. The whales and the seals and the ocean and the colors and the sun. It's just
it touches
just
upon all the senses.
Everything. And you're right. When we don't take care of ourselves first, we definitely won't be able to be there for somebody else, because we are not. And by not taking care of ourselves, it's like, for example, pushing it aside, not taking the time to grieve, not taking the time to recognize that is that which happened, to recognize a loss, to accept a loss, to welcome the loss, because welcome in the sense of it is a new beginning. It is like kind of to give a more kind of a everyday, maybe concrete, everyday example. When you go on an airplane, mm-hmm. You remember those days? I don't know. Sounds like I don't know. But when we're being told to put our masks first before we help another people, mm-hmm. another person, like a child or an elderly. I remember when I was younger, my parents would get very upset. It was kind of a selfish thing. How can you take care of you before you take care of others? But actually, if we don't take care of ourselves, when the air pressure drops, right. We drop, and they for sure will drop because they won't know what to do. So it's the same thing. It's like we take care of ourselves first. So we can be for others. And this is what I've been saying all the time. It's like we are here for ourselves in order to be for others, and that is a big piece of gratitude. And and festivities and the lights and Hanukkah today, we start lighting the first candle today to symbolize the 8 days that little canister survived for 8 days instead of 1 day, and it's called also the holidays of miracles, because it is a miracle. And if we look around ourselves, it is a miracle every day. It is a miracle every day. We can experience negativity, we can experience positivity. It is all for the good of our journey.
Our soul journey, right?
Soul journey, exactly. all the time.
Grief comes in, like I said, many shapes and forms, and I love this. I embrace a lot of the traditions and rituals of all the holidays. You have multipass. You have a multipass. I mean, Catholicism, Judaism, Taoism, Buddhism. I'm into humanism, to be quite honest. Whatever you decide, what makes you happy, as long as you're being kind. But Hanukkah's I love it. I love embracing all the candles, and just like the analogy you gave, the metaphor of the lighting of the candle. And you can't have it within the candle. There's a shadow. There's the darkness. You can't have the darkness without the light, and light without the dark.
Yeah,
it allows you to embrace the light. So all the traditions and rituals, really, what it boils down to is being kindness and family. Whoever your family is. Sometimes family is not blood.
Family is not necessarily blood. Sometimes
exactly.
Sometimes we have to choose a different family. Sometimes the family that we chose actually to come to, we chose actually to come to in order to break from, to break away from. It may sound a little harsh, and sometimes it is true, because we go through excruciating experiences, and if we don't have the tools, so sometimes we are here to search for something else. So if there is something if you want to comment about something, you can comment on both on the Facebook and on the Instagram on Instagram is Jojo by Gigi
and Body and Soul.
And Body. Oh, I don't have it today on Body and Soul.
Well, you will though later.
I will do later.
So wherever you want to comment, wherever you want to put your words. Again, it's a free for all. Go naked and free in the social media.
Yeah.
Because isn't this about birth? And rebirth?
It is about
every day is we're rebirthing ourselves. That's how I look at it. And grief, like I said, it's not just loss, it's betrayal. And grief doesn't have to be, what I found out? Grief doesn't have to be all boo hoo hoo. It could be joyful too, grief. Because it is, like you said, the ending of something.
Well, it's hard, it's kind of hard to be when you're grieving. Think about when your dad passed away. It is hard to be in that space. And let's say I would meet you during the time where you were grieving, and I come and I tell you, Gina, that's the way of the world. It's okay. It's all for the good. It's hard to come to somebody who is in a grief mode. It's very delicate to come and to be in that position, because while we know that in the back of our head, we know that everything is for the good. When we do grieve and we do go through a loss, we're going through a loss. It is the natural process, and I found it to be kind of an insensitive to say to somebody during that time of grief, hey, it's all for the good. But for example, in Judaism, there are different things that will say what we wanted to say without saying what we wanted to say. That kind of thing. So, for example, when in mourning or in grief, you eat lentils. Why? Because lentils they're round, so it's kind of symbolizes the circle of life. Mm-hmm. So there are different meanings to different things, but I get
well, the
that.
black eyed peas, you do it on New Year's Eve. It's like the protection.
Oh, there you go.
So isn't it great? And that's for good luck and miracles to happen on New Year's Eve, to eat the black eyed peas. That's tradition as well. And it's a circle with the eye.
What tradition is this? This is the first time I hear that.
Oh, really? Yeah, New Year's Eve we eat black eyed peas. Yeah, it's a Southern thing.
Southern?
It's a Southern to eat black eyed peas.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah, so, and you look at it, it's the eye, the protection.
See? Well, the eye, what you have here, what you see here, put it to the camera. You see here this eye, here this. I don't know if you can see it very well, but this is actually coming from Kabbalah and Judaism. Yes.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yes, because we're Texans.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
yes.
So is that how you say it? Yes.
Yes. It's Y-S.
Oh, shish kebab. So this is really nice. We said we're going on the road. Since
this has been really fun. Okay, so take that example. He was playing on the sound. We got kicked out, and look, something better came in. Look, this is beautiful. We are hitting such amazing shots. We're in his tent.
And
we're in the wilderness. Children are playing. I mean,
the turtles are coming in. Turtles are coming out.
The children came in to play with their crazy pants, and we're all connecting with you, whether it's now or later. And like I said, even in the grief is betrayal. Grief is love. It goes in relationships. So
what after the grief, after it shakes us. It does shake us. It shakes us. Shakes and shapes.
Shake and shapes us. Because for me, all our pains, fears, joys, and challenges are encrypted pieces of creating a mosaic legacy of our lives. That's why I made my character Jojo, her wings, a mosaic, because I've crumbled to a million pieces and I had to pick each sliver up and create it. And I feel what I built, my inspiration has been my children, but also who we are. We get up the next morning. So I love mosaics.
So what was the first thing? So let's say that event. Let's say think about an event that's really events. So what was the first thing like that kind of shook you out of your, because there is the period of time where you're like, you feel sad, you go inside and you're, you just want to be under the blanket and not come out. But what was the first thing that kind of helped you shake out of it?
Well, I think it's all the experiences I have experienced through life. It led me to this point, so I just don't give up. And there was also points when, I wanted to lie down. Yeah, there were times like, oh.
Yeah, but there was something that said, no, I can't do that.
Well,
or I don't want to do that.
It was my own inner voice. And also, honestly, when I'd hear my children, go cook for them. Like, they were my inspiration. And writing poetry, writing stories, and going outside. Once I got out of the four walls, you have to get out of the four walls.
You have to get out of the four. That's
you have
to
get out of the four walls, and you really do have to play. Sometimes you have to force yourself. But I also encourage, hey, if you want to lie down, but we don't want to get stuck there.
Yeah, we don't. It's very easy to be in that space and to lay down and to be. I've been there, been to that movie. The actor dies at the end, and it's just you lay down and you just don't want to get up.
That's right.
And it is and going out, being with people actually takes you away from that. Takes you away, showing you that there is something else beside this grief and life. And when you are with people, you see that life continues, that life goes on, that life continues to evolve. And these times, you're talking about November, like the time of things that are happening and
so
shifts
many
and
things.
stuff. Like
my aunt,
everything is November, so I get that. I get that.
And everything, and so a lot of things happen in November. So when November comes around, my children and I,
so you're automatically going into you're going into
fight or flight.
Yeah, it's right. Automatically, without nothing happening.
Okay, no, this November is going to be good. It's all great. I met
just waiting for something to kind of like get into this
November. But you know what? It like I said, we deal with grief in different ways, and our wounds, for me, we treat it as an illness and it's an injury, and sometimes our pain receptors get reactivated. So every November, my pain receptors get reactivated because a lot of things happened. I mean, there was breakups, there was death, there was. Yeah. I mean,
you're drawing from what
lost
happened.
Everything financially, completely emptied out of everything.
Yeah.
But you know what? I love the word mourning because mourning and MORN. I knew the morning was going to come up the next day. What can I do with it?
Yeah.
And again, my inspiration is always my Christopher and my Megan, my children, and the children around me. I was a teacher, so when I would go see their joy, it's funny how you can put it aside.
Yeah.
And here we are today, and yes, there's still loss and grief, but you know what? There's a lot of joy matching it. And you made a point like, what if I was in the middle of grief and you came up to me? Well,
I'm coming up. I was saying something, saying a specific.
But it would
saying,
be grateful that someone came in my life, and you were. For me, it's to show support. I'm like, oh wow, I'm not alone in this.
Well, no, I get that. It's just
but
being
to
sensitive.
Get over it.
Yeah, that's right.
It's how you communicate it.
It's how you communicate
get
it.
over it. No, that's not.
No. I wouldn't say get over it because get over it, it's like you tell somebody who drinks all the time, don't drink. It's like the person knows that. I mean, nobody wants to be in that space. Yeah. Hello, everybody who is joining us. We're in Abracadabra, wonderful Gina Ann. I'm iLan Azoulai, and this is our Sunday edition from the Wilderness Park.
With all the turtles and butterflies and
so we take the show on the road.
I love it. Never know where we're going to be next.
Never know. Sometimes it's in the tent, but I like the tent.
I love the tent.
Yeah, tent is great.
I like
this
wherever
is great.
It takes us.
We came here and we started setting up for the show, and it was just busy. It was busy as we were.
All these children.
Everything was busy. I was like,
great.
Okay, let's see. When time comes. So it came. We're talking about the grief is an important process of the healing, right? Mm-hmm. And so think about like a scar. A scar, the shock, the trauma, because first of all, you have to have the trauma. So the trauma is like a knife. It's like as if if you cut yourself, if you stuck a knife in your knee, and really the healing is how the scar looks like. So it is how we heal, and if we don't go through the grief, it will come back because we did not resolve it, and it'll come back in different shapes and forms.
Well, it won't heal.
It won't heal, but it won't heal. Eventually, it'll heal. It'll heal crooked because it has to come out. It is a human condition, and it must come out in a certain way. And if we don't deal with this in that fashion of giving the time of when it happens, then it can come and manifest in different shapes and forms like anger, frustration, People are angry at one another. You see somebody who's just angry and just screaming.
Or they self-sabotage with chemicals,
or sabotage,
and sex and everything. So,
drinking, drugs, everything.
Yeah.
And so
there's no judgment around it, it's just
it is what it is, right?
Why we're here too. Most of my clients are going through something, and I think if I hadn't gone through all these life experiences, I wouldn't be able to offer
absolutely
the experience. And the one thing you said, what got me through it, I think I've never let my inner child go away.
That is crucial.
And
that is crucial.
That's why I'm an inner child specialist, because I can see the inner child. We all have it. That's the one thing we have in common. And there are two things guaranteed in life: we're born and we die. Right?
Well, there are also other things.
Well, and then all the little fun stuff in between.
Yeah.
Or the funky stuff in between.
Hey.
And the fucky stuff in between.
Yeah, right.
See how if you remove one letter, how it changes the whole dynamic of a word?
It changes the whole thing. It changes. Suddenly, this is not a park anymore.
This is not a park.
this is a set, actually. Okay, guys, take the curtain down.
So we'd love to hear your comments and what you're going through.
Oh, somebody is commenting here. Yeah, let me take a look at the.
Like I said, we really want to hear what you're going through, and we have some tools for me. Like I said, the biggest one to deal with a lot of my, if I'm going through grief or distress or even happiness, is to get out in nature. There's
we're not.
Like
no. This is not a cemetery. No.
We're not.
Oh, no. It's not a cemetery. It is Wilderness Park. I don't see any grave any here.
No. We have an amphitheater, and there's
it's a
turtles.
Whole thing.
In fact, I was saying, my daughter, we brought her little turtles here. She called them eggs and bacon. So eggs and bacon is up there. Whew. So no, it's lovely here. It's lovely here in the Wilderness Park, right in the middle of Redondo.
So this is really great. I'm excited for Hanukkah. I'm excited for this. What we did.
I'm celebrating it too. I got my gold coins.
Oh yeah, you do have gelt, right? You do have gold coins. Yeah. So this is.
But I can't eat gelte fish.
Gefilte.
No, yeah, that's it.
Gefilte. That's something else.
It's like one word. Balls.
So here, gelt and gefilte. So it took one letter out.
One letter out.
No, so usually we come, we light the candles. We light a candle, one candle tonight, one candle for each night. And we eat these, what we used to call them in Hebrew, sponge cakes. I don't know if it's the right word, sponge cakes. It's like those jelly donuts that, and my mom and my sister, my grandmother used to make those levivot, which are called heart shapes, but they're not really looking like heart, but they're like in deep oil, and it's like,
they're good for the good hearts.
You get it for the love handles.
Exactly. Hey.
Yeah.
Or cushion for the whatever.
Yeah. So this is really the time of release, a time of rejuvenation, renew new things. And the grief is part of releasing. The grief is part of how do we handle this grief? How do we let go of things? And this is something I want to talk also about, what I talked about on Friday, when we're grieving and when we're saying, oh, let this go, let this emotion go, or let what doesn't serve you go. What happens many times, I'll give an analogy. So I have here a thorn bush, right? If I take a piece of cotton and I put it on the thorn, and I want to take back the cotton out, there will be a lot of that cotton left on that thorn, right? This is how when we work on releasing something, especially something that is not productive for us, obviously that's why we're releasing it and letting it go. What happens is there is a void suddenly. Because we are talking about patterns, remember how you were saying that November comes, right? November comes, like and you automatically kind of embracing yourself for a hit, for a punch, or however you want to put it. Well, if you go with that for many years, this becomes a part of your norm, a part of your construct, a part of your putting together, right? To let that go, to release that, creates a vacuum. Creates kind of something that is missing. So we must pay attention to what are we filling it with, because if we don't pay attention and we're saying, oh, just release, something has to come in. Yeah. And like you said, if we don't
acknowledge it first.
Exactly, and accept it. And this is what Kabbalah is. Kabbalah is not just receiving, which is true, but it is also accepting. It comes from the acceptance, and the acceptance is what allows us to be on a straight path, to be on a path that can go forward, and to, for example, with November, with the November moon, November blues, November blues, November blues, right? So we can maybe replace that with events that are joyful and are cheerful.
Exactly.
And then November comes again, and oh, I'm looking forward to November because November is actually great. This is just an example of what you were saying about
And that's what
November.
I've done. My kids and I we've been taking hikes everywhere, and I'm like, it's just honoring and embracing November even in the distress. And my brother always watches. So hi, Michael. I always want to take
hello,
because
Miguel.
Michael watches every week. My other brothers, they don't watch, but that's okay.
They don't.
Okay.
Your brothers don't support you, huh?
Well, they do, but they support me in different ways.
So let's talk about your family.
Ooh, we have a lot. Where do you want to start? Should I start with my mom?
Start with your mom.
My mom. Yeah, she watches too and listens too. Yeah, growing up with my mom, she got bored a lot. So there was a lot of jokes pranked on us. So
you mean on you?
On me, basically, yeah. So she didn't want to be. My brothers would catch these big frogs because I'm from Texas, and she didn't want near the frogs because she's afraid of frogs. So she made my brothers hold me down and me kiss a frog.
And did the frog change to a prince?
No, it didn't.
Oh.
No, it didn't. I didn't get warts, thank God. But no. Or I'd be in the bathtub, naked, and she would throw a frog in. Always frogs. That's why I have a fear of frogs.
What's with the frogs?
I don't know. That's why I had to put frog in one of my books, Billy Frog, because everything's symbolic in my books.
Of course,
everything
it is wonderful.
The frog and.
I mean, we look at everything that is happening in our life. Everything is and can be symbolic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right? You have flies in the house. You have moths. You have all this kind of stuff,
all these
right?
moths started getting in my house.
That's changed. That's a lot of
cuckoo
shifts
crazy.
changing.
I'm like,
that's
not even at night, and I'm like, what are all these moths?
Yeah. So there's a lot of shifts changing. But so your family, so you're the frog, and
there's many stories. I'll do one story a week because this is.
I like your alligator story. Like she had an alligator.
Yeah, Charlie.
I was like, she had Charlie.
Charlie.
And so she had an alligator as a pet. I mean, it's like, this is okay.
No, but this is where I wouldn't say ignorance, but naivete. I would go down there. So I'd write my poetry, and Charlie was right there, and I'd bring the crust of the bread and call his name, and he'd come up, and I didn't know. I didn't.
He was just waiting for the right opportunity to pull you in.
But he didn't. He would come up, and he would just stay there.
How many years did you know Charlie?
Ooh, Tim McGraw joined. Tim McGraw, yum.
Tim McGraw,
I don't know. Tim McGraw's on, so I'll take it.
Okay.
I'll take him. So, how many years? Yeah, Charlie was there for many years, so I'd go down to the tanks.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then one time we had two tanks, and we didn't think Charlie would go in the other tank. And then my Uncle Donald would go in, and he saw Charlie, and we were like, oh my gosh, Uncle Donald, there's Charlie. But Charlie didn't attack him. And he's in one of my books, too. Charlie's in one of my books. So.
Charlie.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen Gina's books, she has these wonderful children's books that are all, as you say, symbolic, and is with Jojo.
The magical red stone.
The magical red stone, which is representing your heart, right?
Yeah, it beats like your heart. It's also your intuitive. We all have intuition, whatever form that is. And oh my goodness, you have to mention what you did last week in your workshop.
Oh, thank you.
Phenomenal. I mean, talk about inner child, talk about sound. And one of the things I'd like to offer on his behalf, which I have done and given these gifts to my family and friends, is he creates this tea. Now you talk about it's a heart opener tea. So I want you to explain that, because these are, if you're looking for great holiday gifts, yes, JoJo books are amazing, but his teas are very, very, so you can drink. This is not just like a regular tea. I mean, it's not illegal. I'm like, oh, these are high teas.
It's all legal. It's all
but they're called high teas, but it does get you high. It opens you up, not high in the sense of.
I mean, you can drink the tea and then read the book. So you're totally.
Oh my God! Then it's kind of like
so it's not an explosion.
Like mushrooms on a glow light. Even, not that I've ever done mushrooms that you cook with. But talk about your teas, because like I said, I want to really. I am pimping your shit, but
well, last weekend, I was invited to host a group. I'm not going to say the name was a group from an organization there were like about 20 people, something about 20 people, and it was an entire day. And my tool, my primary tool, and the way that I work with primarily through is sound and vibrations and frequencies, because every part of our body is a frequency, and we can achieve and we can heal through frequency. If we also want, also if we don't quote unquote need any healing, or we are fine, our day is great, everything is good,
Joy.
we're in that joy. Frequencies can actually elevate that, can create, we can use frequencies to create other scenarios that we want, focusing, deep sleep, detoxing, working with different illnesses, and different infections. Actually, with frequencies, with the teacher that I've been working with on bioacoustics, we had 3 cases of COVID reversals, removing the frequency, using the frequencies of the spike proteins that were discovered. So it's going into very much in depth, but sound and working with Tibetan bowls is the beginning to really a comprehensive health, because each part of our body has frequency. Each part of our body is a frequency, and when there is a depletion in certain areas, the frequencies will support and will reharmonize our entire existence. So this is really a fascinating work, and so we did I did day a whole day of sound work, and
with your teas,
with the teas, and you were assisting, Gina was assisting. It was really great, and we talked, because we work also with couples, and with not just couples but individuals and groups, and we bring the work of the yin yang, the masculine and the feminine, and how do we combine, how do we separate,
one now.
So just like we were doing. So the teas are a great addition, because what I discovered is, and I can tell the story of how it came to happen, because all the teas, the high tea, is all from herbs and plants that I sift through and I make, and the formula that I put together, and it's a heart opener, it's a body presence, crown chakra activations. I have 3 kinds of teas: open heart for the heart, and love sanity, which includes your open heart, but also includes your sacral chakra, which is your sexuality, your creativity, your vitality, your your juice, and
juice.
That's good. It keeps you good, and keeps you up,
fire and
up
water,
and up and up. And then nature's breath, which includes also mullein. The mullein is a plant that helps with the respiratory systems. It cleans up the respiratory systems. So especially during these times, during this craze of breathing and inhaling, this is really something that works together perfectly with sound. And so combine that with the books of Gina, and you're totally high.
No, exactly. And the magical stone, I'm telling you, you'll get stoned off of the joy and the fun of everything involved. And that's part of this, is what one of the modalities that I offer, others, is for dealing with grief. It's self-care. This is part of self-care, doing something for you that makes you feel good and assist in you. My daughter and I, my son, we all decided this Christmas we're going to give each other gifts that is relevant to self-care. So that's like going on hikes. And I'm not going to tell you what I got them too, because in case they listen. I know it's so hard for me because I want to give it to them now.
Stop it.
I know. I get excited and I want to give it to them, but I won't. So I can't even say it. But this is part of the self-care. And I love that he allowed me to go with him and assist him on this workshop, and we are working on one. It's the name we're working on, where we're still sifting through, is Intimacy Alchemy Play Shop.
Interesting, very interesting. Work for couples, for groups, in private settings, in group settings. Mm-hmm. It is an interactive play shop.
That's right.
It is an interactive play shop. It is engaging everybody with your personal experience, and see how we can navigate through that, and using the different tools with sound and the books and the approach to all the aspects that we're going through is really a rejuvenating experience. I just told you stop it, and it reminded me of Bob Newhart.
Of course.
Yeah. So he has a skit there where this woman comes into him. and he's a shrink, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this woman comes into him, and she has a problem, and she tells him, "Listen, doctor, I have a fear of being buried alive in a coffin." And he asks her, "Did you ever have this fear?" She says, "No, I just have this phobia. This anxiety." So he tells her, "I'm telling you, I'm going to give you two words, and these words are very, very important and will help you. And are you ready?" She said, "Are you ready? Stop it." Yeah. Anyway, this was the "Stop It" of Bob Newhart, where it was very, because really, in essence, like truth has no emotions, we can stop it.
Right.
The reason we don't stop it is because we continue to suffer.
We go back to the past.
We go to the past. We
We'll
go and
play
we
the same
continue
record.
to suffer. You know, pain is inevitable.
That's right.
Suffering is our choice. You know, pain is there, is going to happen. Events are happening. You know, we walk, we fall down. A boy walks and he falls down. Okay, it happens. What happens? What happened when your kids were running and fell down? Did you go up and pick them up, or
no? I mean, the initial, I'm like,
but what
and
would
then
happen?
like, let's go, good job, come on, let's get up. And then I'm like, oh, I hope they're okay. But yes,
Yeah.
the initial mother fear of like,
it's like to go and help
yeah,
them.
because you don't want someone you love hurt.
No, it's
And
like I
so-
remember. Yeah, I remember. No, my son when my son was young, and we were in this service, a temple or whatever, and he fell, and this guy came and I was like, he fell. It's like, oh, he's okay. We're like, oh, okay, he'll get up, he'll be fine. Don't reach out, because the minute you reach to the kids, you go, they get even more crying and more, oh, help me, help. It cultivates that feeling of the neediness of in the kid of I need you to help me to raise up, to come up, because I fell and I hurt myself. But when you let them just, so this guy comes to me and he starts screaming at me, how can you let your kid fall like this and you don't go and do da 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 da? So,
I mean, there are times, like I said, I would go there and then
everybody
just
has
encourage to get up, and that's being a parent as well. I mean, I think mother fear and father fear is always present, but see the great laughter.
There you go.
That's another modality in dealing with grief, is modality and accepting all the forms of intelligence, emotional intelligence, academic intelligence, creative intelligence, being creative. When you tap into all these types of intelligence, this will open up a space. Look, all they have is a rope, and they're playing, which y'all could see.
You don't need electronics, you don't need nothing. Just a rope, and they're playing.
See, I love the sound of the laughter.
There we go.
Playing
That's
music.
Great. And he's wearing orange shirt. Orange color.
Orange is creativity.
Yeah.
So it's really beautiful.
No, this is great.
Yeah. Dealing with grief, we have many modalities to do. We've given you a few, and we hope you take these. And if
so, I want to talk about the last segment of our thing, because we are.
Wow.
I want to talk about joy. Joy. Right. And they don't have anything. They just have a rope. Right, that's cool. In English, joy is just joy. There's one word for joy, but in Hebrew, you have 10 synonyms for the word joy. You have 10 synonyms, and one of them is what I give you an exercise, and I want to leave you with this meditative experience exercise. It's called chedva. Chedva comes from the word chad, which is sharp. So it is the initial experience. It's the initial going through an experience. For example, and anything that you start new, anything that is exhilarating, many times we go, and then you relax into it. So there is like the bump and the release. For example, if you've been to a roller coaster and you go up the first climb, takes you up. Just before you drop the first steep drop, your tuches leaves the chair for a split of a second, right? Because the cart drops and you're just, and then you go. That is the initial of the experience of the ride. That's the chad, that's the sharpness. Now, this is a meditation of 4 words. So there are 4 letters, I'm sorry. There are 4 letters in this word. Chet, which is the 8th letter. Daled, which is the 4th letter. Dalet, which is the 4th letter. Vav, which is the 6th letter in the alphabet. And Hey, which is the 5th letter, which is also the feminine. And so what we do is we breathe into the 8. We hold for the 4. We exhale for the 6. We hold for the 5. Now, it may sound a little complicated, but it is not. It's just a matter of the first between 5 to 10 times of consciously counting your breath in of 8, holding for 4. If you want to write it down, 8 and 4 and 6 and 5. Breathe in through the 8, hold through the 4, exhale through the 6, hold through the 5. This repetitive meditation will induce that frequency of joy. Remember, we're talking about frequency. That frequency of joy will be induced, guaranteed. Now, here's another thing. Many of us breathe shallowly. What is shallow breathing? Our chest. I want you to breathe from the belly. Like, expand your belly. No, okay. Your belly. Focus. There we go. Now, then the chest. Hey, you're still chest. But the belly first, and then, so when you fill your belly, and a good way to do that is if you lay down, put a book on your belly, and look how the book rises. Not your chest, your book. Once this is rising to its capacity, then you can lift your chest as well. So you have 2 chambers that you can fill up with your air. And so this is called chedva. This is called joy meditation. Joy meditation for the festivities of life, for releasing grief, for rejuvenation, for love, for compassion, for kindness.
And I feel there's a difference between joy and happy.
Say it louder, because.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no one's ever said say it louder. They're like,
No. Say it louder.
So for me, there's a difference in happiness and joy. Happiness is you're looking from an exterior way to make you happy. Joy is in the inner. So that's why I like when you enjoy, you're in joy.
In the space of joy.
Yes. Whereas happiness, you're trying to look for an outside influence, whether it's a person, a place, a thing.
Is this how you see it?
That's how I see the difference between happiness and so what is your, people go, where am I going to be happy at? Well, my happiness is different than your happiness. So when I have clients that say that, let's evaluate what causes you joy. What's in your inner joy?
Well, you see, joy is as if it is an active creation. So I'm creating this joy. So this joy is this catalyst or something that is causing me to be in that space, right? So and then that cultivates a space. I see happiness as a frequency, as a place of being, as a state. It's like being kind.
Yeah, it's a state of being rather than a
state of being, right?
Oh, exactly. Happiness, Danya, perfect. Happiness is a result. Joy is an action.
Exactly. Yeah. So joy is the what's your joy? When somebody asks you what's your joy, meaning what is that which triggers you into the place of happiness? What is that? Now, the joy, a trick, like an outside thing cannot be
with the rope.
So it's not the boy,
right?
It's my relationship to what I see, right? And that goes back into what I was talking about, our relationship to something, because everything is a relationship. So it is not the boy is a boy, is a creation, but it is my relation to the boy. For example, if God forbid I had a bad experience with. Or somebody, God forbid, lost a child, they see a boy running, they will have grief, they will have sorrow because they lost a child, for example. So it is not that particular, the child or the item itself, it is my relation to that. It is always about a relation to what is happening. And that is why I say it's all about relationships. It's about how do we relate? How do we relate to sit in a park and do a studio? Like if I would be if somebody is a tight ass or something, you say, I can do it, or we have to sit in the studio, we have to do that.
I don't know, I'm always trying to tighten my ass.
Well, you're sitting on the log here.
Yeah, but I'm doing squats.
Right.
For me, the boy going down, it was joy because he was having fun in the simplicity of a rope.
Yeah, no, that's right.
That's why I love the inner child.
I get that. I totally get that. And your relationship to inner child is positive. Therefore, your relation to seeing a boy with a rope is positive. But if, God forbid, you would have a negative experience, you would see a kid with a rope, it'll cause you a little twitch in your heart.
I did. My brother almost hung himself. We built a tree house. Vinny, the baby brother, and he was like, he almost
nice meeting you, Vinny.
Yeah, so I did have an experience. And Vincy! But he's nuts. He shouldn't have gone there by himself. Anyway, but I get what you're saying.
But you know what I'm saying? It's the relation. So you had a good experience. So this is something to pay attention also when you grieve. Talking back to grief. What is your relationship to what happened? The relationship. How is it affecting you? So this is what to pay attention to rather than, the person went. Because the person went the person passed. Let's say somebody who passed away. The person who passed away passed away. They're not here. They're in a better place. They don't care. It is our sorrow. It is our grief. So it is our relationship to what is happening. It is your relationship to what you need to let go. It is your relationship to what needs to let
Right, exactly,
go.
Julie. Joy is a muscle. Happiness
is the
trigger. Correct.
There you go.
Exactly. That's it.
So everybody, everybody looks at it in a way that is working for them.
Related to them.
Everybody is related to them. How it is relating to you, this is the most important. You have your own compass. Your own compass. Where's your compass pointing? North or south?
I'm directly challenged.
So you stay in the middle.
I just kind of stay.
All right. Well,
thank you for all your comments.
Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. This is a great. It's Eve of Hanukkah, and talking about a lot of things. And please drop us a line. We're going to create some new things coming up in the near future. So it's really exciting.
Okay.
Anyway,
I do have to mention something really funny.
What?
So we drank a lot of water yesterday. We were preparing for the show. We did the pee-pee dance. When's the last time you did a pee-pee dance?
What's a pee-pee dance?
Remember we had to go potty and we did the. So we're in the elevator doing the pee-pee dance, and I'm like, "What are we doing?" I'm like, and I used to do it with my brothers. Would race who made it to the toilet the fastest. Of course, my brothers would move me out of the way. So we were doing the pee-pee dance, and it related me. And no, I'm serious, and I have a story about that, but I can't bring it up right now. With Rock did when we both had to go potty. Anyway, that's another show. Danya, love. So happy to have joined. Thank you, Danya.
Thank you for everybody who's being here. Who was
Go do the pee-pee dance today.
Julie. Yeah, we did say the Bob Newhart. So because Julie mentioned it, because remember the Bob Newhart. Yeah. So thank you everybody for being here. It's been it's fun, it's pleasure. And next week or next time we come together,
don't know where we're going to be.
Will be a different day. By the way, you remember the other day last year? Remember that?
The other day, that's the greatest saying. The other day last year.
The other day last year.
So we don't know where we're going to be.
I don't know. The next day next year.
You have any suggestions? Invite us.
Yeah, invite us to your place. We'll do a show.
Studio. Hi, look, we have an audience. Hi, darling. We have children that are looking at us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. See?
Oh, they have. That's right. He's looking at us. Hello.
Thank you, Danya.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Abracadabra, create what you speak. I'm iLan Azoulai. This is Gina Ann. Love to you all. Enjoy. À tout à l'heure. Bonjour, sans travers. Okay.
All right.